The alien warship tore through Earth's atmosphere like a meteor made of malice. Commander Jake Morrison watched the tactical display light up with hostile signatures, his gut twisting as the numbers climbed past 300. They had minutes, maybe less. All batteries, fire at will, he barked into the comm. The orbital defense platforms opened up, streams of railgun fire cutting through the void. The lead alien vessel shrugged off the impacts like raindrops. Its hull shimmered with energy shields that made human technology look like stone axes. Jake's second in command, Lieutenant Carla Bennett, gripped her console. "Commander, they're not even slowing down. What are these things?" "Trouble," Jake muttered. He pulled up the weapons manifest, cycling through every option they had left. Nothing looked good enough. The aliens had appeared 6 hours ago. No warning, no negotiations, just death from the stars. 17 cities were already gone, turned to glass and ash by weapons humanity couldn't comprehend. The joint military response had been crushed in 40 minutes. Now, Earth's last coordinated defense hung by a thread, and Jake Morrison commanded it from the battle station Sentinel Prime. 200 souls under his command, outdated weapons, failing shields, and an enemy that killed like breathing. "They're charging main weapons," Carla said, her voice tight. Jake's fingers flew across his controls. "Route all power to forward shields. Evacuation shuttles on standby." "Sir, that won't be enough. The yield on those weapons." "I know what the yield is, Lieutenant." The alien flagship rotated, its massive cannon array swiveling towards Sentinel Prime. Jake could see it through the viewport now, a leviathan of dark metal and pulsing light, beautiful and terrible. His hand hovered over the emergency broadcast button. If this was the end, Earth deserved to know that someone had tried. Someone had stood in the gap. Then his console screamed. A new signature. Smaller. Faster. Coming from Earth's surface on a trajectory that made no sense. The computer flagged it as unknown, then revised. Human shuttle, heavily modified. Engine output off the charts. What the hell? Carla leaned forward. "That's a civilian transport. What's it doing?" The shuttle wasn't heading for safety. It was heading straight for the alien flagship, accelerating beyond anything a civilian craft should manage. Jake pulled up the registration data. His blood went cold. The pilot's name was Dr. Valor Maya Cross, neuroscientist, missing for 3 years after a lab accident that the government had buried deep. She'd been declared dead. The shuttle's comm crackled to life. "Sentinel Prime, this is Maya Cross. Tell Jake Morrison I remember him now. Tell him I remember everything." Her voice hit him like a physical blow. "Maya?" he whispered. "And tell him," she continued, her words calm despite the insanity of what she was doing, "that they made a mistake when they tried to break me. They showed me how their minds work. Now I'm going to show them how humans fight back." The shuttle dove into the enemy formation like a spark into kindling. Then the impossible happened. The alien ships scattered. Jake had never seen anything like it. Warships that had bulldozed through Earth's defenses suddenly broke formation, peeling away from Maya's shuttle like she carried plague. Their weapons stayed silent. Their shields flickered and died. "What is she doing to them?" Carla breathed. Jake's hands trembled on the controls. Maya. 3 years ago, she'd been his fiancée. 3 years ago, she'd kissed him goodbye and headed to her lab for another late shift. 3 years ago, the government men had shown up at his door with condolences and classified documents he wasn't allowed to read. He'd buried an empty coffin. "Tracking her signal," he said, forcing his voice steady. "Carla, get me a direct line." "Already on it, sir." The tactical display showed chaos. Maya's shuttle wove through the alien fleet, and everywhere it passed, ships went dark, not destroyed, disabled, their systems failing in waves that spread like infection. The comm channel opened. Static hissed, then cleared. "Jake." Maya's voice was different now. ardor, layered with something that made his skin crawl. I know you have questions. I know this doesn't make sense. But I need you to trust me one more time. Maya, what happened to you? Where have you been? Dead, mostly, she laughed. And it sounded wrong. The experiment went sideways. My body died on that lab table, but my mind, they caught it. The Krell, that's what they call themselves. They pulled my consciousness into their network, thinking they'd found a new slave intelligence to process their data. Jake's stomach lurched. Jesus Christ. They didn't understand what they'd caught. Humans don't just process information, Jake. We corrupt it. We infect it. We make it ours. The shuttle banked hard, dodging fire from a destroyer that still had power. I spent 3 years inside their collective consciousness, learning, adapting, becoming something they couldn't predict. Another wave of ships went silent. The alien flagship's engines flickered. And then yesterday they made their second mistake. They came to Earth. They brought me close enough to bodies, to matter, to the physical world I used to know. Maya's breathing quickened. There was a woman in Seattle, brain dead, car accident. Her body was perfect. I rode the Krell network into the hospital systems and I took it. I took her body and made it mine. That's not possible, Carla whispered, though she was hearing every word. Neither are faster-than-light drives or planetary shields, Lieutenant Bennett. But here we are. Maya's shuttle executed a barrel roll that should have torn it apart. I downloaded combat protocols from 17 different Krell warships. I know their weaknesses. I know how their minds connect. And I know exactly how to kill every last one of them. Jake watched the display. The alien fleet was fragmenting, their coordination breaking down. Whatever Maya was doing was spreading through their ships like wildfire through dry grass. The woman, he said quietly, the one whose body you took, what happened to her? Silence stretched for 3 heartbeats. She was already gone, Jake. I didn't kill her. I just refused to let her body go to waste when Earth needed it. Maya's voice softened. Her name was Sarah Winters. She was a teacher, 28 years old. She has parents in Portland. After this is over, I'll visit them. I'll explain. I'll give them closure. You're not Maya anymore, are you? I'm more Maya than I've ever been, and less, and something completely new. The shuttle accelerated toward the flagship. But my soul recognized you the moment I got close enough to sense your brainwaves. 3 years in a digital hell, and the first thing I felt when I came back was you. Your determination, your fear, your hope. The flagship's weapons were cycling up again, targeting Sentinel Prime. I'm going in, Maya said. Physical contact with their command ship will let me inject code directly into their core systems. It's going to hurt. It might kill this body, but it'll cripple their fleet long enough for you to finish them. No. Jake slammed his fist on the console. There has to be another way. There isn't, and you know it. Her voice was gentle now, the way it used to be when they'd talk until dawn about impossible futures. I came back for this moment, Jake. I came back to save you. I never stopped looking for you. I know. I felt you searching. Even in the dark, even when I forgot my own name, I felt someone calling me home. Maya's shuttle was seconds from the flagship now. Do you remember what you told me the night you proposed? Jake's throat closed. I said I'd find you, no matter how far, no matter how long. You did find me. You kept me human when everything else tried to make me a ghost. The shuttle's engine screamed. Now light them up, Commander Morrison. Show these bastards what humanity does to invaders. She hit the flagship at full burn. The explosion was silent in the vacuum, but Jake felt it in his chest like a second heartbeat stopping. Then every alien ship in the fleet went dark at once. Emergency lighting bathed the alien flagship in crimson as systems crashed throughout the Krell Armada. Jake stared at the tactical display. His breath caught in his chest. 297 hostile contacts flickered and went gray. Dead in space. All batteries, he said hoarsely. Target the disabled ships. Fire everything we have. Sentinel Prime's weapons unleashed hell. Earth's surviving defense platforms joined in, their railguns tearing through unshielded alien hulls. The Krell had no answer, no defense. They hung in orbit like floating coffins, but Jake couldn't celebrate. His eyes were locked on the flagship's wreckage, scanning for life signs, for anything. Commander. Carla's hand was on his shoulder. Sir, we need to coordinate the counterattack. The fleet is requesting orders. Give me a minute. We don't have a minute. There are still 17 Krell ships with partial power. If they regroup, then handle it, Lieutenant. You have tactical command. Jake was already moving, heading for the hangar bay. I'm taking a shuttle. Sir, that's suicide. The debris field is Ryu, not a request, Carla. He ran. The corridors of Sentinel Prime blurred past as he sprinted toward the nearest launch bay. Crew members pressed against the walls to let him through, their faces tight with confusion. Let them wonder. Let them question. Maya had flown into fire for him. He'd do the same. The shuttle was an older model, designed for station-to-station transfers, but it had engines and life support. That was enough. Jake strapped in and fired the launch sequence, barely waiting for the bay doors to cycle open before he shot into space. The debris field was worse up close. Twisted metal spiraled through vacuum, glowing with residual heat. The alien flagship had split into 3 massive sections, each larger than a city block. Jake pushed the shuttle scanners to maximum range, searching for anything biological. Nothing. His hands gripped the controls until his knuckles went white. Maya, if you can hear me, if any part of you is still out there, give me a sign. Anything, Static answered. Jake navigated through the wreckage, dodging chunks of hull plating and sparking conduits. The shuttle's radiation alarm screamed warnings he ignored. Behind him, Earth's military was mopping up the Krell remnants, but all that mattered was finding her. A flicker on the sensors. Thermal signature. Faint but present. He vectored toward it, heart hammering. The signature was coming from inside a piece of the flagship's bridge section, still partially intact despite the carnage. Jake maneuvered the shuttle alongside, mag-locked to the hull, and grabbed an emergency vac suit from the locker. The suit felt clumsy on his shaking hands. He cycled through the airlock and stepped into space, tethered to the shuttle by a safety line. The alien hull was smooth and warm under his gloves, pulsing with dying energy systems. He found a breach and pulled himself inside. The Krell Bridge was a nightmare of alien architecture. Organic-looking conduits merged with crystalline structures that hummed with fading power. Bodies floated in the zero gravity. The Krell themselves, insectoid creatures with too many limbs and eyes like black glass, all dead. And in the center, strapped to what might have been a command throne, was Maya, or Sarah Winters's body, or whatever combination of the two she'd become. Her eyes were open but unfocused. Blood leaked from her nose and ears, forming perfect spheres that drifted in the microgravity. Jake kicked off a bulkhead and caught her, his hands finding her pulse. Weak, ready, but there. Maya! Come on, stay with me. Her eyes shifted, tracking toward his voice. Recognition flickered across her face, then confusion, then nothing. She tried to speak, but only managed a wet cough. Jake activated his helmet comm. Sentinel Prime, I've got a survivor. Medical emergency. Requesting immediate evac and trauma team. Acknowledged, Commander. Dispatch in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. An eternity. Jake worked to free her from the alien restraints, the biomechanical bonds resisting his efforts before finally releasing with a hiss. He pulled her close, shielding her body with his own as he navigated back through the breach. "You don't get to die," he whispered. "Not after coming back. Not after saving all of us." Her lips moved. He switched their helmet comms to a private channel and pressed his faceplate close to hers. "Jake." Her voice was barely audible. "Did it work? The fleet's down. You killed them. Every single ship. Good." She smiled, blood on her teeth. "That's good. Don't talk. Save your strength. Medical's coming. Can't. Body's failing. Neural integration too aggressive." I pushed too hard. Her hand found his, fingers intertwining. "But I felt you, even with my brain burning. I felt you believing in me. Then believe in yourself. Fight this." "I am fighting, but I'm fighting for something else now." Her eyes cleared for a moment, sharp and focused. "We, the Krell Network. It's still active. Their whole civilization is connected through quantum entanglement. I showed you how to kill their fleet, but there's more. So much more." Jake's blood ran cold. "How many more?" "Thousands of ships, hundreds of worlds. They're regrouping. They're coming back." Maya's grip tightened. "But I'm still in their system. I'm a virus they can't purge. If you get me to a proper interface, I can spread. I can infect their entire network. That'll kill you. I'm already dying, but I can make it mean something." The medical shuttle appeared through the debris, its lights cutting through the darkness. Jake held Maya tighter, unwilling to let go, unwilling to accept what she was saying. "There has to be another way." "There isn't, and you know it." She echoed her own words from before. "You found me, Jake. You kept your promise. Now let me keep mine." The medical bay of Sentinel Prime hummed with desperate energy. Doctors worked over Maya's body, pumping synthetic blood, stabilizing failing organs, fighting a war they didn't understand against an enemy that lived in neurons and synapses. Jake stood outside the observation window watching, waiting, hating himself for what he knew had to come next. General Frank Hastings arrived within the hour, flanked by security and wearing an expression that promised nothing good. He was a broad man with gray temples and eyes that had seen too many battles. He stopped beside Jake, following his gaze to the woman on the table. "She's the reason we're still alive," Hastings said. "I know. She's also the most dangerous weapon humanity has ever created." The general's voice was flat. "Command wants her locked down, studied, controlled." Jake's jaw clenched. "She's not a weapon. She's a person. She's a ghost wearing stolen skin who can collapse an alien empire with her thoughts." Hastings turned to face him. "That makes her a weapon, Morrison, whether you like it or not. She saved 8 billion lives, and I'm grateful, truly. But gratitude doesn't change what she is or what she represents." The general pulled out a datapad, scrolling through reports. "We've been analyzing the Krell ships. The technology is centuries beyond ours. If we can reverse engineer even a fraction of it, humanity leaps forward by generations. But only if we have someone who understands their systems." Jake saw where this was going. "You want to use her. I want humanity to survive the next wave, because there will be a next wave." Hastings pulled up tactical projections showing the Krell Empire. Thousands of star systems, billions of potential soldiers. "Your girlfriend said it herself. They're regrouping. We have weeks at best before they come back in force. And next time, she won't be here to pull a miracle out of thin air. She can stop them, she told me. If we give her access to their network, we give her access to nothing until we understand what she's become." Hastings' voice turned hard. 3 years ago, Dr. Ray Maya Cross died in a lab accident. The woman in that bed is something new, something unprecedented. Until we know if she's still human enough to trust, she stays contained. Jake stepped forward, his voice dropping to something dangerous. You try to cage her, you'll regret it. Is that a threat, Commander? It's a promise. She came back because she still believes in humanity. You treat her like a lab rat. You'll prove her wrong. Before Hastings could respond, alarms shrieked through the medical bay. The doctors scattered back from Maya's bed, their instruments sparking and dying. Her body convulsed once, twice, then went rigid. Her eyes snapped open, glowing with pale blue light. "Containment breach," someone shouted. "She's accessing the station network." Jake bolted into the medical bay, ignoring the security personnel who tried to grab him. He reached Maya's bedside as screens throughout the room flickered to life, displaying code that scrolled too fast for human eyes to follow. "Maya, stop. You're going to hurt yourself." Her head turned toward him with mechanical precision. When she spoke, her voice echoed with harmonics that shouldn't exist in human vocal cords. "They're already here, Jake. The second wave. 3 hours out. Twice the size of the first fleet." The screens shifted, showing deep space surveillance feeds. Hastings moved closer, his face draining of color. The feeds showed ships, so many ships they emerged from faster-than-light transit like locusts, blotting out the stars. "How is that possible?" Hastings breathed. "Our long-range sensors didn't pick up anything, because I'm seeing through Krell sensors now." Maya's body relaxed slightly, the blue glow fading to something more natural. "I told you, I'm still connected to their network, and they know what I did to their first fleet. They're not making the same mistake twice." Jake took her hand. It was cold, too cold. "What do they want? Revenge. Extermination. They don't negotiate with species that fight back." She sat up, pulling out IVs and monitor leads with steady hands. "But more than that, they want me. I'm a corruption in their perfect system, an anomaly that has to be erased. Then we run. We evacuate Earth, scatter to the colonies. There's nowhere to run. The Krell own half the galaxy. Every colony world, every deep space station, every ship in the black. They'll hunt us down over decades if they have to." Maya swung her legs off the bed, standing on shaking limbs. "Unless I stop them first." Hastings stepped forward. "How?" "The Krell network has a core, a central intelligence, that coordinates their entire civilization. It's housed in their capital world, 300 light years from here." Maya's borrowed face was eerily calm. "I can reach it through quantum entanglement, but I'll need an amplifier. Something powerful enough to boost my signal across interstellar distances." "We don't have that technology." "No, but they do." Maya pointed at the screen showing the incoming fleet. "Their command ship will have a quantum relay strong enough for what I need. Get me on that ship, let me interface with their systems, and I can inject myself into their core intelligence." "That's a suicide run," Jake said. "Yes. You'll be stranded 300 light years away, fighting an entire alien civilization inside their own network. Yes, there's no way back from that." Maya finally looked at him, really looked at him, and for a moment she was just the woman he'd loved, the woman who'd laughed at his terrible jokes and fallen asleep on his shoulder during long movies, the woman who'd promised to marry him someday. "I know," she said softly. "But my soul recognized you, Jake. Even when my mind was shattered across alien servers, even when I forgot my own name, I felt you, and that means something. That means there's still enough of me left to choose this." She touched his face with fingers that trembled. "Let me save you one last time." Hastings cleared his throat. "If we're doing this, we need to move now. That fleet will be in firing range in under 3 hours." Jake couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't accept what was happening. Maya smiled. "Get me a ship, General, and someone find me a gun. I'm going to need it." The assault craft screamed through space. Engines pushed past safety limits. Jake piloted while Maya sat in the co-pilot seat. her fingers dancing across interfaces that fed her streams of data from the approaching Krell fleet. Behind them, 12 volunteers filled the crew compartment, soldiers who'd heard what Maya had done and wanted to see it through. Earth hung in the viewport, blue and fragile. 3 hours had become 2, then 1. Now the Krell vanguard was close enough to see with naked eyes, their ships forming a wall of death that stretched across the horizon. Target acquired, Maya said, her voice toneless. Command vessels center formation. Shields at maximum. Weapons hot. They know we're coming. They should, muttered Sergeant Danny Price from the back. He was checking his rifle for the 5th time, a nervous habit. We're flying straight at them like idiots. Brave idiots, corrected Corporal Linda Hayes. She was younger, barely 23, but her eyes were steady. There's a difference. Jake adjusted their approach vector, angling for a weak point Maya had identified in the command ship's defensive grid. 2 minutes to intercept. Everyone check your suits one more time. Once we breach, there's no turning back. Sir, Bryce spoke up, what exactly are we supposed to do once we're inside? We can't fight an entire alien warship with 12 people. We don't fight the ship, Jake said. We protect Maya while she does what she came to do. Maya hadn't moved. Her eyes were closed now, her breathing shallow. Data scrolled across her neural interface, visible through the translucent skin of her forearms, where Krell biotechnology had begun integrating with human tissue. The doctors had been horrified. Maya had called it evolution. I'm inside their tactical network, she whispered. They're redirecting ships to intercept us, calculating firing solutions. Probability of our survival drops every second. Then we better move fast. Jake armed the assault craft's weapons, pitiful compared to what they faced, but enough to make an entrance. Hold on. The Krell point defense opened up. Energy beams lanced through vacuum, missing by meters as Jake threw the craft into evasive maneuvers. The ship groaned under the stress, hull plating heating to dangerous levels. 30 seconds, Maya said. Her eyes opened, glowing that unnatural blue again. Jake, when we breach, you need to get me to their quantum relay. It'll be in the center of the ship, surrounded by Krell's soldiers. You won't have much time. How much? Minutes. Maybe less. They'll send everything they have to stop me once they realize what I'm doing. The command ship filled the viewport now, a monstrosity of biomechanical engineering. Its hull rippled with alien symbols that pulsed like living things. Jake targeted the weak point Maya had shown him and fired everything they had. Missiles streaked forward. The assault craft's railgun tore chunks from the Krell shields. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the shields collapsed in a cascade failure, and Jake punched the engines to full burn. They hit the hull at ramming speed. The impact threw everyone forward against their restraints. Metal shrieked. Alarms screamed. The assault craft's nose crumpled like paper as it carved through alien armor, burrowing deep into the command ship's guts before finally stopping. Jake tasted blood. His vision swam, but his hands were already moving, unstrapping, grabbing his weapon, activating his helmet. Sound off, he barked. Price, good. Hayes, intact. Rodriguez here. One by one, the volunteers confirmed they'd survived. 11 voices. One hadn't made it, crushed when a support beam gave way. Move out, Jake ordered. Standard breach formation. Maya, you're in the center. Everyone else, you see something with more than 2 legs, you kill it. The assault craft's rear hatch blew open. They poured into the Krell ship, weapons raised. The interior was a nightmare. Walls that breathed, floors that pulsed with bioelectrical currents. The air was thick with moisture and smelled like copper and rot. Emergency lighting cast everything in shades of purple and green. And the Krell were waiting. They came from every direction at once. Insectoid warriors with blade arms and carapaces harder than steel. Their mandibles clicked in synchronized patterns, coordinating their attack through neural links. Price opened fire first, his rifle barking in the confined space. A Krell warrior's head exploded in a spray of ichor. Hayes threw a grenade that detonated in a cluster of enemies, their screams sounding like tearing metal. Jake pushed forward, covering Maya as she walked with that same eerie calm. She pointed left at an intersection. That way, 200 meters. They fought for every step. Rodriguez went down, pulled into a side passage by Krell that moved too fast to track. His screams cut off suddenly. Hayes took a blade arm through the shoulder but kept firing one-handed, her face twisted with pain and rage. "Keep moving!" Jake shouted. "Don't stop." The corridor opened into a massive chamber. At its center floated a structure that defied geometry, a crystalline lattice that hummed with power. The quantum relay. Maya had been right. She had also been right about the Krell sending everything they had. The chamber was filled with warriors, hundreds of them. They turned as one, their black eyes reflecting no light, no mercy. Maya stepped forward, unafraid. "Cover me for 60 seconds, she said. "That's all I need." Jake and the remaining soldiers formed a circle around her, weapons raised. The Krell charged. What followed was violence beyond description. Price emptied his rifle, switched to his sidearm, then resorted to using the rifle as a club when ammunition ran out. Hayes fought with one arm useless, using a Krell blade arm she'd torn from a corpse. Jake fired until his weapon overheated, then drew his combat knife and met the enemy with steel and fury. They died. One by one, the volunteers fell. But they didn't break. They held the line because Maya needed 60 seconds and they'd give her that even if it cost everything. Maya reached the quantum relay and placed her hands on its surface. Her body convulsed. The blue light exploded from her eyes, her mouth, her fingertips. The relay screamed, its harmonic frequency rising to levels that shattered nearby equipment. "I'm in," Maya gasped. "I can see it." The core intelligence, the heart of their empire. She looked back at Jake one last time. "Thank you for finding me." Then she disappeared. Not physically. Her body remained. Hands fused to the relay by forces beyond understanding. But everything that made her Maya, everything that made her human, launched itself across 300 light-years of space and into the digital hell of the Krell collective mind, and Jake was left standing in an alien ship, surrounded by dying friends and screaming enemies, watching the woman he loved sacrifice herself to save a species that had already taken too much from both of them. The Krell stopped. Every warrior in the chamber froze mid-strike, their blade arms locked in positions that should have killed Jake, and the three soldiers still standing. Their mandibles clicked once, twice, then fell silent. The black eyes that had shown nothing but hate now showed nothing at all. Maya's body shook against the quantum relay, her skin burning where it touched the crystalline surface. Light poured from her in waves that washed over the Krell warriors, turning them into statues. "What's happening?" Hayes gasped. Clutching her wounded shoulder, Jake lowered his knife, breathing hard. "She's doing it. She's in their system." The chamber's walls began to pulse in rhythms that matched no heartbeat Jake recognized. Screens materialized in the air, showing things that shouldn't be possible. He saw worlds, thousands of them, Krell cities sprawling across alien landscapes, ships in orbit, stations hanging in deep space, and through it all, threads of light spreading like infection. Maya's infection. She was everywhere at once. Jake could feel it somehow, a presence that touched the edges of his mind with familiar warmth. She was fighting across distances that broke physics, waging war in dimensions humans had no names for. And she was winning. The Krell fleet outside began to drift. Their weapons powered down, their engines cut out. Every ship, Every soldier, every system connected to the collective mind went dark as Maya flooded through their network like wildfire through dry timber. But it was killing her. Jake could see it in how her borrowed body withered. Sarah Winter's flesh couldn't contain what Maya had become. The neural pathways were burning out, consumed by the sheer volume of data flowing through them. Maya, Jake said, moving closer despite the heat radiating from the relay. Maya, you can stop now. The fleet's down. You did it. Her head turned slightly. When she spoke, her voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Not done. Core intelligence still fighting, still planning, still hating. Then let someone else finish it. There is no one else. A sad smile crossed her ruined face. Only me. Only ever me. Price stumbled forward, his armor scorched and dented. Commander, we need to evacuate. This ship's systems are failing. We've got maybe 5 minutes before life support goes critical. Jake didn't move. He was watching Maya's eyes, seeing the light inside them flicker like a candle in wind. Go, she said. Take your people home, not without you, Jake. Her voice was gentle now, the way it used to be. My body's already gone. I'm just signals and electricity pretending to be human. But out there, in their network, I can still do good. I can make sure they never hurt anyone again. By destroying yourself? By becoming their conscience. The smile grew. I'll be their ghost. The voice in their collective that whispers mercy instead of murder. Every time they think about conquest, they'll feel me pushing back. Every time they plan another invasion, I'll corrupt their data. I'll haunt them forever. The walls shuddered. Emergency klaxons began wailing through the dying ship. We're out of time, Hayes said urgently. Jake's hand found Maya's face, careful not to touch the parts that were no longer flesh. I can't lose you again. You never lost me. I came back. I found you across impossible distances because my soul recognized yours. Her eyes cleared for one final moment, becoming human, becoming Maya. That doesn't end. Not really. Somewhere in the quantum foam, somewhere between signals, I'll still feel you. And maybe that's enough. It's not. It has to be. The relay pulsed once, violently. Maya's body went rigid. Go now, she commanded, her voice fragmenting into harmonics. Before I can't stop them from killing you. Jake wanted to argue, wanted to fight, wanted to tear the universe apart until he found a way to save her. But he'd learned long ago that loving someone meant letting them choose their own sacrifice. He kissed her forehead. I'll remember you. I know. Then he ran, grabbed Price and Hayes and the soldier whose name he'd never learned, and they sprinted through corridors that were collapsing around them. The Krell warriors didn't move to stop them. They stood like monuments to a species that had met something they couldn't conquer. The assault craft was barely functional, but Jake got the engines running. They tore free from the command ship just as it began to break apart, pieces spinning off into the void. Behind them, the entire Krell fleet was dying. Every ship going dark, every system failing, an empire ending not with war but with silence. Jake didn't look back. They limped toward Earth, toward home, toward a future bought with blood and sacrifice. Sentinel Prime hailed them with questions. Jake didn't have the strength to answer yet, but as they approached orbit, something flickered on his console. A message, text only. No source identifier, it read. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for letting me go. Tell them I chose this. Tell them humanity fights because we know what's worth saving. Tell them Maya Cross died saving the species she loved. Jake's vision blurred with tears he couldn't afford to shed while flying. He typed back with shaking hands, I will. I promise. The response came instantly. I know. My soul recognizes you. Jake Morrison. Even from here. Even from forever. Then the signal faded, spreading across distances too vast to comprehend, becoming one with the network of an empire that would spend eternity haunted by the human who refused to die quietly. Earth filled the viewport, blue and beautiful and alive because someone had chosen to become a ghost. Jake finally let himself cry. And somewhere in the quantum dark between stars,